allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let the record show that all selectmen are here with the exception of Chairman Denziano tonight. And do you want to go? I apologize.
All right. Came just in the nick of
In
time.
the nick of time. I'd like to take the opportunity this evening to welcome our new town manager, Denise Duchamp, you probably all know her, and also to thank our interim town manager for his service, as this is his last, I guess, visit with us. You're gonna have on speed dial, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Speed dial.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything.
I want to thank you all very much for the opportunity to work with you, to get to know you all. I think your community is well served by all of your elected officials that I have had the opportunity to work with. And though I am not first on your speed dial,
You will be on mine.
I always remain available. And if there's need, I can always come back up. But I think that you've made an excellent decision, and you actually are beating the crowds out, and everything seems to just be aligned so well for your next town manager to move in. And she's got some great thoughts about economic community development, downtown redevelopment, and I think you will be in great hands as time goes on.
I do too, I agree.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, so consent agenda, AP warrant number 43, dated 8/14/23. AP warrant number 4, dated 8/15/23. Payroll register number 33, dated 8/17/23, and number 34, dated 8/24/23. Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved as read.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Okay. Looking for acceptance of the minutes of the select board meeting on August 14th.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for August 14th.
Second.
No discussion? No questions? All in favor? Old business. Follow up on selectmen's concerns from immediately preceding meeting, if any. Mr. Moody?
None.
Mr. Bean?
None.
Ms. Estes? Okay. Okay, 232 Bagley Road update. Town manager, Miss Town manager.
In your folder that says Board of Selectmen FYI, there is a deed that Mr. Malloy took care of and had recorded in the Registry of Deeds. And it was, I think it's all good, that the piece of information that you were waiting for from Mr. Malloy to prove that he had that property, that he had purchased that property, that to make him an abutter for 232 Bagley Road is in front of you. And I think that matter should be considered resolved.
Okay, do we need to make a motion on that?
I don't think so.
Now, your motion was to award the bid
Yeah.
based on circumstances.
Do you guys want to review this, Steve?
I already
did. Thank you. Would you like to have a review? It's all when you register. Okay, we move on.
No discussion?
No discussion, no? Unless Mr. Woody has any questions?
No, I voted.
You have, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we want to discuss next the amendment to the town manager contract for professional memberships. We do have a form to sign here this evening with regard to that.
That was that the town would pay for the town manager, whether it's me or anybody else, to be a member of the Maine Town and City Managers Association, and to bring the benefits of that basically to the position, and the International City Managers Association, which is a requirement because that's the employee retirement. You have to have that membership in order to participate in the retirement. So.
I'll make that amendment to, I'll make a motion to amend the town manager's contract deed for the, to pay for the Maine Town and City Clerks Maine Town and City Managers Association and the International City Managers Association.
Second.
All in favor?
For clarification, the reason it's being done formally is that will now become part of the original contract to
Because of
hire.
part of the contract, yeah, okay.
Okay. Items of communication, organizational meeting of the Recreation Committee held last week, I believe.
I'm trying to remember the date, but the 16th, actually, August 16th. So the Recreation Committee, I was hoping that somebody would be here, but they apparently have not been able to get together. Or, I apologize, there may have been something in the town manager email that I missed, so just leave it at that. But the Rec Committee has decided to have 2 of the members of the Rec Committee split the duties and responsibilities and the stipend of the Rec Director. It's not a big stipend, it's $5,000 and something. And they will each take responsibility for making sure that the Rec Department is kind of reconstituted in the absence of the previous Rec Director. They have a lot of responsibilities, plans, questions, and things that they want to get done in terms of what they want to see the Rec Department be responsible for. And that includes adding leisure activities at some point in time. This is not anything that's going to happen within the next 30, 60 days. This is going to be something that's going to take a while to build, and it's going to be probably a 2 to 3 year project to build before it comes out as anything that's going to be in front of the taxpayers. But they want to be able to provide the recreation services, not just the sports activities. So I hope, they are having a meeting of the commissioners. It's a required meeting of all the commissioners, the sports commissioners, on September 6th, Wednesday at 5:30. So
Is that here?
that'll be here at the Old Point Avenue School. Yep.
Can you explain to me what the commissioners are?
The commissioners are, there's one person that's in charge of dealing with baseball, one person in charge of soccer, cheerleading, football.
So will this be posted so that if any of the selectmen want to attend, they can?
Yes,
So that
it's going to be, it will definitely be posted as an open meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
If I may, I think you're absolutely correct. And there ought to be, at the very bottom of that agenda that is posted in notification, select board members may be in full attendance.
Okay. Yep.
Any other questions after that?
I have another question.
Yeah.
So who is approving the bills for right now? Who's like submitting to approve them? Would that be Christie and Amber, the 2 that are?
Christy LeBlanc and Amber Noyes will be the ones that are going to be responsible for collecting those bills and approving them and submitting them to Jill.
Okay. And they will be the ones to assign the account numbers also?
Jill will assign the account numbers. Jill, I believe, through finance, Jill will work with Christy and Amber because they're learning the whole budget side of it. They don't have any of that information, and in fact, I think it was the day after the meeting on Thursday the 17th that they actually met with Jill and got some of those budget numbers and the account numbers for what baseball and lawn maintenance and fencing and referees and umpires and stuff like that.
So they will work with Jill though, so that those are very
Specific.
because they will know kind of, but
Yeah.
they might not know which account it should
Exactly.
necessarily, but so they'll work with her. So that
Absolutely.
they
Yeah.
know and they're both all on the same page basically.
Right.
Okay.
All right, number 2, the Old Point School update.
So the Old Point School updates, here we are, right? Before my time, there was a problem, and the code enforcement officer has been working with vendors trying to get bids to correct the problem. And he's got 2 bids, but there's only, he's reached out to 4 vendors, but only 2 of them have responded. So Peters Excavation has said that they would do digging up the sewer lines out of the building, fixing the clogs and broken pipes, hooking the lines back together, doing the backfill, loam, seed, mulch on the lawn. That would be $5,150. If the work needs to proceed out into the street, unless the blockage or anything, the problem affects the main line, the sewer company will not pick up the difference. So that, if we had to go out to the street, it would be another $5,000. And I think Jeff Drew told you guys that at the last meeting, right? So the other bid was only, and that was Peters Excavation, and Diggin' Riggin said that they would do the first half of it, not anything from the street out, for $8,500. So some of the information that you guys need in order to make the decision is the permits are with the state are all in order, but they need to start the work no later than September 14th. And it has to be completed no later than October 14th. So Jeff is looking for a motion and an approval from you guys to go ahead and proceed
I would,
with the Peters.
I would make a motion for Peters to go ahead with that.
Now we go with the first part.
Well, we have to do it for the whole thing because we don't know.
We don't know.
Right, we have to give it to them for the whole, because we don't know, and they don't know yet until they, but when I talked to, so somebody from the sanitary district, I can't remember who it was, I happened to be in the town office one day, and he was there. He was an employee for there, and he anticipated that it wasn't gonna be out into the road, but he couldn't verify that for sure, but that's what he kind of thought.
So would that motion be like up to $10,150?
Up to whatever that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Ron's thinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Now
Yes.
I'll do a follow-up question. I wanted to get this. Where is this money coming from?
Yeah, we have to make that decision where it's gonna come from, right? I mean, we don't-
Yeah, we're talking around $10,000. Where's it coming?
Well, hopefully it's only 5, but yes, we could be.
Still,
Yeah.
where is it coming?
Didn't,
Please go ahead.
One of the areas that becomes obvious for the unknown, besides looking at public works line items for this kind of repair, if no building accounts have been set up for that work,
Yes.
your undesignated fund balance, the amount that is carried forward into the next year,
Yep.
becomes a very critical component to making that happen. It's the unknown. And here's a prime example where you can't or could not foresee that at the time of the town meeting, and then it happened.
Yes.
Ultimately, you're going to have to absorb all of those costs, even at the expense of another line item. So there'll be some tough issues brought before you as time goes on, especially as you're moving into the last quarter of this fiscal year, which would be April, May, and June of next year.
The reason I'm asking this is because hopefully people are listening, and instead of wondering where it's coming from, we're giving them an answer right here tonight.
And without having that information for you, I will make sure that I have it for you at the next meeting.
That's fine.
You may recall when the assessors recommended to the board to set the tax rate,
I was gonna say, we said that at the last meeting, didn't we? We had discussed that.
and the final numbers came in about $3,000 or $4,000 higher, so you're dealing with about $110,000 undesignated fund balance, and this is the reason why you have one of those.
Right.
It's not funny money. It has to come under the same scrutiny of purchasing policy, purchase orders, and the public. But in the final analysis, you're not left hanging saying, well, we have to wait another year, so let's shut down the building.
I'm wondering, and this may not be appropriate at this time, I was wondering about, we have several buildings in town. Should we have a building fund, and do other towns look at that with, where at town meeting we say, let's put X number of dollars, we do it for fire trucks and stuff like that?
One
X
word.
number of-
Absolutely.
Okay, I was just curious. Because, I mean, that way at least we can be putting funds away, because we're gonna need more money for this building, or others.
Or a
Where did I
building.
hear that before?
Did you
Just
echo
throw that
in your
out
head?
Yeah, I think that's excellent planning, and it's hard to convince the public who want to have a special town meeting while your sewer's overflowing to try to repair it. That doesn't work well.
Something we need to consider. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Next on the agenda, number 3, manager's report.
So the first thing under my manager's report is the ACO vacancy. We have had an application, and it was, Mr. Berkowitz and I interviewed the candidate. We're going to continue to accept applications. We have not made any decisions yet at this point, but in your packet, I think there should be a proposal from the current Anson Animal Control Officer, who is willing to create a plan, if you will. Makes a proposal to do $125 a week and then plus mileage. I think that it's a good idea to possibly consolidate with other towns in the area, and maybe we can even get to the point where someday down the road, again, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, we would have a full-time animal control officer, you know, that's paid in by all area towns, and doesn't have any other responsibilities. But for right now, I would recommend that we speak with Andrew Hopper, the one that made the proposal. Allow me the opportunity to speak with him and see if we can figure out some way to make something like this work, at least in the short term, so that it's not a full-time position, it's just, we need somebody for an animal control officer. So even if it's just for the next 30 days or the next, you know, till the end of the year, something.
We've been dealing with this on and off for X number of years now, and as far as this interest here, anything that we can get right now is more than we're gonna have, because each time we get an ACO, it does not last.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever, I think whatever we can get for an ACO answer is ahead of the game.
Okay.
So, okay, I think first of all, I think it's a good idea. Anson and Madison, they're very cross, and they seem to, dogs, whatever, they all seem to cross right over there. So I just think that's a good idea.
And it's not the Rainbow Bridge.
No, it isn't, no, it isn't. But, and I don't object, but do we have the money for the $125? I remember the ACO line getting cut back because of who we had on board at the time, when the budget was being put together.
So the 2024 budget actually shows that $6,950 was budgeted, approved and appropriated for the animal control officer for fiscal '24.
Okay.
Right now, there's $6,485.11 unexpended.
Mm-hmm.
So this proposal on a 52-week contract would be about $6,500 plus mileage.
Plus mileage.
So we're down 2 months,
Right.
and if we can find a way to, you know, negotiate a fair deal for both parties, the town and the proposer, then I think that, you know, we can certainly come in under that budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes, I'm sorry.
the motion that really should be before you is created on the information that was just generated. And it should somehow stipulate that you're authorizing the town manager, to negotiate with the proponent to either become a regular employee part-time or a contractor, and to stay within the budget limits that are still available, and to report back to you upon a draft contract to that extent. And I'm recommending a contract as opposed to employee position. That's my own opinion, but I think it gives you flexibility. It can be a duration of not to exceed June 30th unless otherwise extended by mutual agreement of the parties. But at least it may bring together, as you pointed out, the two communities and allow a person to at least be attentive to the needs of ACO work.
Do we need a motion to do that?
I would make that a motion, just what he said.
Okay, I got it.
And it may require, there has to be a second, I'm sorry.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Your manager may report to you in executive session until you have agreed to the terms and conditions
Because of
of the
the
contract.
contract.
Yep.
And then it becomes public at that point.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Does, yeah, does, oh, sorry, I probably should have to raise my hand, I forget to do that. So, does that, is the contract, will that require us to have an attorney for that, or is that something that we can do?
Um,
Sometimes contracts aren't worth the paper they're written on.
It can be a very simple contract, but it would be a contract that would require the proposer to make sure that he provides his own vehicle, he provides his own equipment and supplies, and he keeps a record of his mileage, and that he carries the proper insurance. So,
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, town manager goals.
I had some, I don't know what happened to them.
Everybody has a copy, I think, in the paperwork.
Randy, did you give them back to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got them, I got them. No, that's not on camera.
It is.
Okay, so my proposed goals are for the first 60 days. You know as well as I do that I'm coming into this as a first-time town manager, even after being in the employment world for 40 plus years. I come with a background in public management, state service, information technology, computer software consulting. However, I want to make sure that I am making myself accountable, holding myself accountable to your expectations as the Board of Selectmen. So what I'd like to do is just very quickly run through this list. Sean, you don't have a copy with you, do you? Okay. So under communication, establish and maintain open line of communication with select board members. Introduce myself to surrounding community leaders. Sheriff Lancaster and Madison assigned duties, I've already begun that. Backyard Farms and Timber HP leadership. 55 Western Ave development project owners. So I want to make sure they know that I'm here and I'm a resource to them. We've already talked about the membership for ICMA, and I think the next set of warrants may include that membership in the Maine City, Town, and Managers Association as well. As far as management of the office, I want to make sure to get acquainted with the town staff, and that's been really very pleasant so far. Everybody has been very gracious and kind and welcoming, and that's been amazing. I also want to let all of the department heads know that I'm available to work with them on whatever they need. I want to recruit and hire an ACO, whether it's a contract or employee. I want to identify someone else in the town office, whether it's me or another person in the town office, that is willing to become a notary public, because that would certainly help the public citizens. as they come in and they need things done. I want to continue to work with the Recreation Committee as they develop structure and foundation for reestablishing the Recreation Department. And then as far as security goes, I have already initiated an inventory of the town-owned facilities and the keys to those facilities, and to find out who has access. You know, I don't know that anybody has ever had a key access here, a key inventory here in Madison. But the first question I asked was, who has keys to the town office? And I was like, I don't know. The board of selectmen, the employees. So I want to have a sense of security in that we know who has access to what buildings and who has authority to access those buildings. So those are my goals for the first 60 days. When I come before you in executive session and for you to evaluate me, that's what I'm looking for to make sure that I have met all of those goals. The next question I have for you is, what are your expectations for me in the first 60 days? What, if anything, do you hope for me to accomplish over and above what I've got here? And if you don't have an answer to that tonight, that's fine. You know where I am. Drop in, send me an email. Just let me know what you're hoping, what you'd like to see.
From my perspective, I think that you've got a full plate with what you're looking at for the first 60 days, and there'll be more than that, as we all know. So yeah, if anyone has any ideas, certainly let Denise know, but I think you're on track so far, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I guess everybody agrees. Okay.
Oh, you have a question?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Lee.
This is for you.
Yes, sir.
I don't text. Don't send me a text message.
How about email?
Yes,
All right.
yes. If my wife is on top of that, I don't check that, but she'll tell me. Or
Email Mr.
call me
Moody.
on the phone. Just don't text me, 'cause you're not gonna get an answer.
Text. I got it. It's in the minutes.
That's not just for her, that's for all of us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any further discussion on that? We can move forward to new business.
Well, before we
Oh,
do
sorry.
that, I had one more thing under manager's report that I wanted to add, and that was, a young lady came into the office on Friday asking to do some community service hours. She's a senior at Madison High School and offered to clean up the basketball court. And so she and a bunch of her friends got there on Sunday and they cleaned up the basketball court. They found some things that were not excitable, but they cleaned it all up. They cleared the brush. They were cutting back the bamboo around the fence until they found a hornet's nest.
Oh dear.
So there's at least one young lady that's going to get 7 hours of community service. And then as her friends reach out to me, I will confirm their community service also. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Moving on to new business, department head reports.
Mr. Gordon is here this evening. Do you all have his highway department report? Michael, do you want to come up and sit just for a minute? I don't know if any of you have never met Michael Gordon.
They have.
Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yep. Lot's been done.
Yeah.
I will say that I had a citizen concern or complaint last week, and I reached out to Mr. Gordon, and he responded within minutes to go talk to the citizen and has a plan to resolve that issue. So I'm very pleased at that communication. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Moody?
Mike,
Okay.
how are we set for part-time plow drivers this winter? Have you been able to get to that at all?
I got to that. I got 4 people right now available, so we should be all right.
Now's the time to be chasing them.
We should be all right. We
Okay.
we did run into have to change the rear end of a truck. It got ripped right out of
See
there,
that.
and it was a nightmare. But we got through it. So this is Billy's last week, so he's helping with everything he can before he leaves.
Has there been Has anybody ever talked with Billy in reference to maybe, a day a week or 2 days a
Already
week or
done.
now and then? Is
Already
he
done.
interested at all?
Yeah.
Outstanding, because that man has
He's-
saved this
He
town
has, and
much money.
he's gonna be irreplaceable. We do have another mechanic there. He's
Yes.
excellent so far. He won't ever replace Billy, you know that.
Oh, yes.
But, he's done excellent so far, quite impressed with him. But yes, Billy said if anything major comes up, he's more than willing to come in
Outstanding.
to help for the first year. After that, he's
Yep.
going on tour. So I'm gonna leave him be, cause he deserves it.
But
So,
I was also, like I said, I was interested to know if you've been able to, set up any part-time for
yeah,
the
I do
winter
have
crew
four people
flowers.
getting ready to come in and
Hey,
we should be
outstanding.
pretty good for the winter.
There you go. That's all I have, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions? Mike? Looks like you
Thank you,
have
Michael.
You're
a lot
welcome.
done though, that's for sure.
Yeah, we did. We
Free to
were
go.
super busy.
Thank you.
Sorry I was gonna leave, but I had another engagement tonight. Nice seeing you guys.
Take care, Mike.
Thank you.
I also have an update from Living Well in Madison that I didn't get in time to put in your packet, so I'm just gonna read it real quickly. The week ending 8/27, Cheyenne kept up to date with all incoming emails and AARP updates and discussions. She made an updated flyer for 1 Madison Avenue for the Memory Kit Day. She updated the town manager contact information on the town website, thank you very much. Updated the property tax listing and 23 commitment books on the town website. She answered committee member questions and continued research on transportation resources to do a pilot program with 1 Madison Avenue. She connected with Lori Manzer about the status of the pilot survey. She picked up materials at the library for the memory kits and sorted out what was needed to be reordered. Posted on the Living Well in Madison Facebook page one of the questions the committee agreed on to start a positive community conversation. She reviewed and started the after-action report for the memory kits and lifelong learn and share follow-up. And then I have a verbal report from our fire chief. Nothing's going on. He's got it under control. And what he said to me was, he wasn't able to make it, he has a lot going on, so he didn't get a chance to do his report. So he will, if you have any questions, feel free to call him. So he will try to get the fire department report next month. Yeah.
Did we receive anything from the sheriff's department?
I'm sorry?
From the sheriff's department, normally we get a report from them.
Oh, no.
No.
I take that back. That would be from Sharon, right?
Yeah.
She did, and I didn't print it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
She said she put it in your packet though, so you may have it in your packet.
No.
If I may, Madam
I'm
Chair,
sorry, yes.
Madam Manager, on my way out of the office for the last time, I had a chance to talk to our chief, who was revising the dictionary to 4-letter words. The newest vehicle has had its share of challenges, and I'm aware of them from when I first arrived, and the warranty ends coming in another week, so he's putting together a list and putting the manufacturer on notice. It's functional, but there are issues that should have been taken care of at the time of construction and assembly. I'll leave it at that.
And that's the new, brand new,
Yes.
So that's a verbal report.
That's verbal, and he is on top of it. He's not trying to hide anything. As a matter of fact, he may very well need to meet with you in executive session at some point.
Thank you.
And that was by happenstance, because I happened to be parking out there.
yeah. He caught you. Okay,
So you don't have anything in your packet from Sharon for Somerset County Sheriff?
I don't.
All right, I will make sure that you get it.
okay, we have, an appointment for Channel 11 Board of Directors.
That's in your signature
Yeah,
folder.
and I have that right here. Randy Bliss, who is here tonight, we need a nomination for him to become a member of the Somerset County TV Board of Directors.
I'll make that motion.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So moved. So you just need this signed?
Yes, please.
We can move on to the report on Madison Days while we're signing this.
Okay. Reverend Tobin and Heather, would you care to stand up or speak?
Sure. Or I'll pull some chairs up for you if you want.
No, it's fine, I can go. Where, you want us here?
Sure.
Sure.
I'll just pull here up.
The committee that organized Madison Anson Days this year was Pastor Tobin Curtis and Heather Longley,
Yes, Emery,
Emery?
Longley Emery.
Longley Emery. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
So, brief history, we got involved last year. I think Steve Austin was the Madison citizen who tried to initiate it all and got things together and organized our side of that. And he was in dire straits looking for volunteers to help in different areas. So we stepped in and helped out. And then he bowed out and said, "Hey, you're gonna get it, so tag, you're it." So we're like, it can't be that bad. And it's that bad. It is extremely, well, it's multifaceted and on all the different areas. And I think that if moving forward, and that's why I appreciate being able to come here today, if moving forward, this is something that wants you all as the town of Madison want to continue or improve, I think it definitely requires a combined, like a committee organized in a way that doesn't put all the efforts on one or two people. I think it certainly, as we looked at it, it looks like, if the Business Alliance could get involved and, take a portion of it. I think the school needs to be brought in just so that they know, hey, this is a big weekend, don't schedule away games or, that kind of stuff, so that they can be a part of the things. Churches and other organizations and local citizens as well. But I think, and in particular, I mean, the town, someone from the town office. We won't put it on the town manager, but someone at least that knows where the money's coming from and how to get it that way. Because it's a lot, and I think for the most part, everyone looks forward to it. The town and the citizens look forward to what goes on, but in reality, it certainly could be better, and it's just a lot for one or two people to do. We unfortunately, weather this year kind of messed up the plans for Saturday, because we rent all the games and toys and all that stuff that comes up from, I don't know, East Berwick or whatever, and they weren't coming on Friday to deliver to Anson, so they weren't coming and dropping ours off either. So like that kind of ruined it and put a damper on some things. But we were able to get the parade done and on Saturday, and which was great. And then we were able to get some of the, I think, a few of the other craft vendors, I should say, not the crafters, but the vendors were able to be out there for a little while. And the Business Alliance had their chicken barbecue and stuff like that. Sunday, everything went off, I believe, without a hitch, right?
I had a report in from the 5K road race, and that was fantastic. It ran smooth. Also, Timber HB has sponsored that this year, so it was free registration. We were able to put that out publicly in social media. And they had paid for all of the snacks, water. Although they were unable to show up last minute, they did sponsor the whole thing, which the Hogopians appreciated, and you should see that check within the office.
So that's
probably.
Timber HP?
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, they were they're looking forward to working in this,
Yeah, absolutely.
in the future. I have not got a report in on the fishing derby or golf tournament because officially the church's day off is today, so I will be in the office tomorrow. The craft and vendor show did not happen on Saturday due to weather, but the fireworks went off without a hitch last night. They came in, they were fantastic, I met with them, they came in on time, sent me messages when they were done. Also after midnight, when they were completely finished and letting me know that it was a great success, so.
It was really nice. The fireworks were really
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
So no report on fishing derby?
Or golf tournament.
Okay.
I'll say I played in the golf tournament, it was very nicely done,
Good.
and a lot of, there were, probably at least a dozen teams, maybe a few more.
That's a typical from what I've heard in the
Yes,
past
yeah.
few years, so.
It was very well done. The food was good.
So, recommendations for the future. Are you willing to participate in a committee in the future?
I would consider sitting on a committee.
Okay.
I absolutely do not want any part of running it. I'll give you an overall, for our assessment, kind of what my view is from the past 2 years. This year we made the positive changes that I believe are positive. We moved it away from the original date that it has been and shifted it one weekend out, which took it away from the Skowhegan Fair, which opened it up for many more people to come with their families. I think that has also brought in a new, tons more crafters and vendors want to be here. I don't, it's going to be great next year. I think that you'll have so many on that same weekend. With that said, Robin is stepping down. This is her last year. She will no longer be with us. She is definitely the backbone and the one who organizes all of the craft piece and the vendors, so she has passed on her information to me, which I will also pass on to the town. This year, with having a rain day, which has not been done before, we had some very unhappy people. They have they pre-register and it is non-refundable, so that was not liked, so I think that should be something addressed. I will have a few that I will be passing on to the office this week.
Okay.
To make decisions on how you, so I would say that next year that you may need to look at a larger space for vendors and crafters, because Robin has always been able to maintain 27 spaces, but that is not going to be enough in your future.
Where were the 27 spaces?
At Skowhegan Savings.
Okay.
So that would be my piece there. For the recommendations, my biggest recommendation that I would like to come with are, one, having a rain day option. So if you do have crafters and vendor show, possibly use the school as a rain backup. The gymnasium, I mean, we have these big buildings here. There should be other options, and it should be something put in place way in advance. I would suggest, parade. So I don't know if any of you were in the center of town on Madison.
I saw. You were trying to direct traffic.
That was unexpected. Last year it was much smoother for us. We had tons of volunteers. We had the volunteers this year to maintain the streets. But what we discovered this year was people like to sneak through. They like to sneak through the backside of Skowhegan Savings, through the backside of Maple Crest. So I'm going to recommend next year that we have
Cones.
well, we have cones, but that those are bordered off. We had Skowhegan Sheriff's Department that was supposed to attend with 3 vehicles, one for the center of town and one at the bridge. But I'm assuming there was an accident that happened earlier, and I'm assuming that that's why they lost their coverage.
Okay.
But I did not know. So in the moment just before the parade, we were unaware that we were lacking major control. So it was a fly by the seat of my pants moment. So anyone who saw me a little frazzled. But then I had a gentleman who stepped up and he helped control one side, and I had someone who came running from Anson and helped control another, and I then drove down and shut down the bridge. So I have suggestions that I put together, a list for the town office of things that I think that maybe in those cases we could do much safer.
That would be wonderful.
Safety is an issue.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely
It was an issue.
an issue. We had to, on the parade route,
pull 3 cars over that were just trying to go the opposite direction. And, you know, I mean, just, it didn't, nothing bad happened, thankfully, but
Yep.
as people are tossing out candy and giving it to kids, the cars are going down that same lane, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, so, yeah, I mean, there's some major issues, like safety-wise in regards to that need to be just better managed, and,
Yes.
I just have a quick question. Is there a committee currently active?
There is not.
Looking at them.
So this is it.
So this is-
So how it worked this last year was, because we were new to it, like, wow, we'll help, and we're like, oh, we're it. So we met a few times over with the town of Anson. They have a whole committee over there that kind of, and it's perfect. They do their, like, they plan out Friday, and we kind of coordinate what goes on for parade and stuff like that, but they're all set. And then we looked like, whoa, okay, this is a lot for Madison. So, yeah, I definitely recommend, and even within like the month that we maybe just make contact with some of the folks that, you know, whether the Business Alliance or some others, that we can say, listen, we need to jump on this and at least have a plan moving forward, because I think it can be great, but it definitely takes more than just a concerned citizen that wanted to do it, you know, I mean, you know, which was great. But I think we're at a place where, you know, it really needs a committee of people that can step in and say, okay, we'll take. But yeah, I mean, I'm more than willing to sit in a committee. I know as a church, we'd love to participate in an event, like to say we'd like to sponsor an event, like whatever it is. Where we wanted to do a car show, but we had to, you know, people don't like to take their nice cars out in the rain, which I can totally understand. So, but, you know,
But
yeah.
don't you have like connections you can work on the weather or something?
I tried. I've been praying for this weekend. I have bigger concerns for this weekend, so I'm sorry, I can't spread them out too thin.
Okay,
I would like to
Fair
suggest
enough.
also that if you're building a committee, that you do this sooner than later.
Yes.
That it is,
Yeah.
it's not something you really can wait till January or February to put together. Where we did have all of the events purchased and paid for, we've got an agreement with them that they would send the town back half, but hold the other half as our deposit, which
For
is
next
great.
year.
But in order to get your big things, the bigger items and the best items for the festival, the sooner the better. I kind of gave them that same weekend for next year, but they need it in definite. So that would be very important.
Okay.
And I also would like to just put out, I know I spoke of it before with the town manager, but this next year coming, you have a huge historical moment. So this is something that I would encourage you to
Absolutely.
start right away, go hard, 300th year, how did you word that?
It's the 300th anniversary of the massacre of Sebastian Roll and the Abenaki Indians down at the cemetery location.
Okay, so back when I was the committee,
Okay, good, you know how I guess.
I'm not gonna be it again. I did it for 8 years, okay, I did my time. But no. Eventually I ended up getting some help and stuff, but there was only, there was 3 of us, that, and it was just a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I worked, and I stayed up until midnight or whatever on Friday night, Saturday night, yeah. And by the time, you know, it was done. But anyways, so now that she brings up the father Roll thing, see, that's, it used to be the father Roll days.
Right.
And that's what it was always called, and it was always done and tried to be around the father Roll mass.
Right.
So that was a big celebration, and then it, at some point, got changed to be the Madison Anson days, because part of it was, you couldn't, when we had it for the Father Royal days, it was the same kind as the skeleton fair was going on, and as you're trying to grow your event, it was, you know,
Right.
it was too much conflict, so it ended up, and that's why the date would go, what we tried to do was do it after the after the fair, so that next weekend, it could be the Madison Anson days, and you had more people to
Yep.
attend, and you didn't have a competition of the fair thing. So, I mean, I don't know, I don't know, and I'm not I'm not Catholic, so I don't know, but I do know that Catholic people do know all about the Father, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's a celebration for them, and that was a big deal. And when it finally got changed, that was not very accepted either.
It
was
wasn't,
not.
it was not well received?
No,
Okay.
for a time it was
Yeah.
not, and now you'll even still get comments about
Right.
that. So I mean, I guess it needs to be some conversation is all I'm
Well,
saying.
definitely. So I think in terms of the committee, I think it's important to have a Catholic presence on that committee. But I think we can have a joint celebration of Madison Anson Days and the celebration of the martyrdom of Sebastian Rall and the Abenaki Indians. That is a huge historic piece of our community. And 300 years is something to be celebrated. So we've got to find a way to do it in a joint,
Right, and to make it so that it can be combined and still be,
special
Because, like-
for this and special for that.
right, because like right now, the way it is, and I don't even, the way that it is right now is kind of, it's separated, like they try to still do something, but it doesn't get a big, you know,
No.
it doesn't get a big,
Yeah, they,
like it used to be, I mean.
I think they were doing pilgrimages
is it-
from the Pines over
Right.
to the monument, and they might have like 20 or 30 people.
Right, yeah, and I mean, it just would be nice if the whole thing could be combined again and all that, because that did take away a lot, and I'm not gonna say I was necessarily, you know, for it, it's just, whatever, the talk, all the
Right.
committee, it just kinda, and so I do know that that was a really big.
In my notes, I put in, and I'm not going to go through those right now, but I would recommend that whoever the committee is on this committee, that when you're there, that it's not just a Madison Anson town, when you're thinking at this historic level, that you think about Norwalk, you think
Yeah.
about Solon, not to include them in on the major part of the committee, but to maybe reach out and see what pieces of history that they may have that you want to share along this weekend. That weekend, there are some amazing historical sites in Solon that you can go to, and Norwalk also.
Yep.
So I would just recommend working with some of the other towns and that also. But I will give you all of my notes and pass them off, and you can do what's good with them as you choose.
Any,
So do we have enough information to move forward?
I think so. I would like to say that, as town manager, I don't mind being on the committee. However, I don't want to be the leader of the committee. I would prefer to be at least liaison between the committee and the town. So,
I would just like to say now, Tobin, he hit on this, and I was very, no, that the fact that you need somebody within the town that's responsible for the money, okay? And I think that's how, I don't know, that was part of how I came. But then there was a whole other big issue in that, we just
Right.
got pointed and Kathy,
Yeah.
you're it.
You're
You
it,
know,
yeah.
Because you're the town clerk and you're the treasurer, so you're it. Yeah, okay, wonderful.
but we don't want to drop it in somebody's
No.
lap like that.
No, you don't, but that's it's like maybe, so you need somebody responsible that will get the money, because every event needs startup monies, money comes in, you need to make sure it hits the, it gets directed there, this is the money for this, it was for the golf
Yep.
tournament or whatever. And so you can note that aside, but it all hits the account for the Madison Anson Days.
Yep.
But somebody can keep track of, this is what this event brought in, this is what you paid out for this event, okay? The person that I would probably say could do that very easily already has enough on her plate.
I know.
I know that, and I
Yep.
know, yeah, so I don't know who you would put to be that person, but it makes good sense for it to be her.
The finance person,
Well, the
finance
Oh,
director.
the
You talking about Jill?
The treasurer.
Oh, the treasurer, Trish.
You know, yeah. You could do it through with a finance person. Both of them have a lot on their
Yeah.
plates right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if things change or
Yeah.
whatever, but they both have a lot
But
on
we
their plates
could-
right now.
Yeah.
I would say that we have our work cut out for us anyways with regard to, as far as the money goes, yes, but who's gonna be on this committee? How are you going to search? How are we gonna throw it out to the community to see who we can get to serve?
Well, I think one of the first things that we do is we start with the Madison Community Matters Facebook page. Has a great, as a great resource to reach the community and just say, you know, and Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a lot of people that are posting questions about fireworks and the parade and comments and everything else. And, you know, are they willing to essentially step up to the plate and say, you had a concern about the fireworks, or you had a concern about the parade, are you willing to volunteer to help us to bring more into that project? And so, you know, I think that's where we should start to recruit the volunteers, and then possibly look at other people in town that may have an interest in participating, you know, that are not necessarily on Facebook.
Yeah, and as someone said, the business alliance too, we should definitely.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead. Okay, so committee members are committee members, but are they the doers too? Because there could be.
They need to be.
Well, see, I think the committee members have to recruit. The committee members need to be active recruiters to get the doers. Because if we try to get the committee members to do everything again, we're not gonna have a committee.
Well,
You
can
know?
I just interject? So, back in, I think it was April and May, we drafted a letter. The same letter goes out every year to all the businesses, okay? And if they want to help the sponsor, blah, blah, blah. I think some of them responded, but I think it would be better received if from the actual business alliance, someone said, hey, you know what? This is an important aspect of the town and our businesses. We should get on board with this. And I think we'd get a much better response from the businesses that are around. And not only asking for like sponsor, like money, but saying, you know, if you take an event, like, yeah, bring your people together, put your t-shirts on, whatever, put a big sign out, but you're doing the, like, they know, like, oh, okay, you're doing the event. I mean,
At your event.
yeah. I think that would be, I just think it would be better received than just the blanket letter that we send out every year, and, you know, sometimes it might make it to the right person or not, who knows, but.
I guess to draw this to a conclusion, because we can talk about this all evening. The biggest concern that I would have with regard to our town manager being on the committee, that we need possibly a motion this evening to make it so that she is liaison only and not a voting member, so she is not going to be tied up with a lot of work to take her time away from other stuff. Not that she can't be involved, but because she's got a lot of knowledge.
No, but I appreciate that, thank you.
Well, yeah, I just don't think you need to be a voting member. You've got a lot on your shoulders as it is.
I mean, so, and I'm not going to make a motion, no. Wrong group of people, yeah. So, the former town manager, his involvement was particularly the fireworks, all right, because that's a whole nother animal. And so.
It was because because you had a contract.
Yeah, everything, yeah. So that was like the biggest thing, and he reiterated multiple times on his way out as he handed us the keys, like, you know, this is my last time, good luck, you know. But, so someone from the town office has got to be in charge of that, because that is a much larger contract, and that's a lot more money that needs to be spent. And that was his only involvement.
I don't mind being a doer
Right.
on the committee. I don't want to be
That's
a
fine.
leader.
Well, right, and the fireworks really is not a big, that was my simple part.
Yeah, exactly, because they already take care of
All
it.
you do is call, and they usually set up a
Right.
contract for like 3 years or something, is what it is. And you just have to call, and you have the contract, and therefore you have somebody at the municipal level, you know, to be able to sign the contract along with them. So that's that's not extremely, yeah.
It's changed this year. I'm not sure when it changed, but it is yearly. You have to have your application in by October. There's a date in October it has to be done.
For next year?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they
that's,
have to
then
be
the
done.
committee, this has to move quickly. So, yeah, it has to be done by October, and the previous one, the town manager signed it, and also Dale Clark from the sanitary district. signed it.
Yeah, he has,
And-
that's right,
yeah.
he has.
And then
That's where they're let off, is down there.
they have all of my contact information now. Currently, everything is for me. It's coming directly to me. But moving forward, I can easily change that. I have the key currently. We have the key currently to get into the gates of the sanitary.
So we'll give them back to you. If-
Yes, we
in-
absolutely.
In your reference to security, we have a key.
We have a key.
Maybe make a note of that.
Given the constraints, having had some experience in the past in recreation related and merging the different levels of the community, your first big step is you need that person who's willing to step forward and create an organization of not only thinkers, but then back out into the community to get the doers. And if you haven't got that strategic person in place who's constantly shaking the coals to keep them warm, you're gonna miss your October deadline. And really, you're gonna start missing other deadlines, even though the lion's share of meetings increases come springtime, and I understand that. But the key element there is that person in the community who wants to bridge the gap between public, private, religious, business organization, and has a reason that they've done it, not just because they are supportive of eleemosynary nonprofit efforts, but the community that they live, work, and play in. And you only have a few large corporations that have that kind of capability, and I would suggest knocking on doors real quick and saying, who will become the big sponsor? And you're really at this point looking for talent.
Yeah.
Shekels will come later.
Okay, so do we need to do a motion with regard to Mrs. Liaison?
I don't think so at this time.
I would,
Okay.
I wouldn't think.
I don't think so, not at
Just
this
so
time.
you know, that's what.
Yeah.
Yep, that is the direction of the board.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Lots of thought-provoking stuff, but that's what we have to move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk some more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming.
Bye, Robin.
Thank you.
We'll send the deputy sheriffs to your residence next year. They'll help you out.
Thank you.
I want that key.
Okay,
Thank you, I know that was a little lengthy, but I think it was a very good discussion.
There's definitely some need there for sure. Okay, number 4 under new business, sanitary district easements for sewer and storm drains. I think everybody had those in their packet. We just need a motion to approve. Can we do them both at the same time is my question. We have to do them separately, okay.
Separate.
So,
You get the sewer and the storm drain.
and I will say that before we make the motion, that we should include the wording at the bottom of the utilities easement and storm drain easement in the motion,
Yes.
as we
All,
discussed.
and that is, all work performed upon and use of the easement area shall be at the grantee's sole cost and expense. So that is, the sewer department is, the sanitary district is gonna pay for any work.
You become the grantor, and you remain the grantor in perpetuity so that they are on your property.
So motion on the sewer and utilities easement.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, I guess, on the sewer utility easement, for the Anson Madison Sanitary District at 26 Western Avenue location. All work performed upon.
I'll take that into the motion,
Oh, okay,
into the minutes.
okay.
Sorry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, and we need a motion on the storm drain piece as well.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the storm drain utilities easement for the sanitary district at 26 Western Avenue.
Sanitary or storm?
And then that paragraph of the all work performed will be included in that?
In the minutes, yeah.
And that's for the storm drain?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay. So moved.
Thank you.
Okay. Select board concerns, Mr. Moody.
Was there a time set for us to talk about the, establish the purchase order?
Yes, so I was working with Jill on that, the finance director, and we asked that that be put off until September 11th meeting.
Okay.
But we did have some information on it in our packet.
Yes, yes.
And I think it was noted on there for September.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, Mr. Bean, do you have any concerns? Ms. Estes?
So, I was looking at the budget from the previous year that we have in front of us. And there was a lot of budget adjustments. Some of them I'm pretty sure, and I hate to say I would assume, but I'm pretty sure some of them were carried forwards. But then there was a lot of other ones. Is there a way that we can know what those are? I mean, why would they carry, because there can't be that many carry forwards throughout the budget. Is there any way that,
I don't think I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at, wait a minute.
it's dated August 15th, but it's the department, totals, and it's for the year end June 30th, 2023.
I have that one, well, I might somewhere.
I'm not really expecting that you're gonna give me answers tonight on that. I'm just wondering if we can,
I have a copy of it if you want mine.
I think, no, I have the current year, I don't have last year. So what is your question, and what I will do is I will get that information and forward it to all of you.
Okay, so I'm sure that some of them are carried forwards, okay?
Okay,
But it just seems like there's a lot of budget adjustments, and we don't get to see the explanations as to why. I have to believe there's documentation to say why it was done. We just can't see it, and I don't know, we can just kind of know what it for, I guess.
okay, so the budget from the previous year looks like there's carry forwards
Thank you.
for fiscal year ending 6/30/23.
Right, I know there's some carry forwards, but
Okay.
there's a lot of other, it's under the budget adjustments, but there's a lot of other adjustments, and I'm just curious to see.
Okay, so what are those other adjustments? Other than the carry forwards?
Right.
Okay, I will find out.
Are you looking for everyone or anything over $100 or
Well, most
some
of them are,
guidance?
most of them that I saw were like in the thousands, you know what I mean? So, there was a couple that was 100 or whatever, but there was some like, maybe they're just corrections, you know what I mean? And that's a simple answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of them.
Okay,
And usually for budget adjustments, I mean, they carry forwards go there, and yes, you have some other ones, and I wouldn't expect the backyard farm ones. I'm quite aware, I know those are those due from account, so those I wouldn't I know what those are, okay? For the most part, I would know what those were, because they have to move the monies around, I understand that, but the other ones, it just seems like there's a lot of them.
okay,
And again, they could just be corrections,
okay.
but I just don't know that, that's all.
Yep, I'll find out.
That's it tonight.
any concerns for you, Seth?
Citizen, oh, no, I'm okay, thank you, right now. I'm gonna go away. Any citizens' concerns? No, okay, hearing none, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.